Thought I just lit something on fire, but I didn't. It would have been great to start this show off with my pants on fire. Oh, and that would happen to me. Hello, happy Monday. The sun is shining. It's warmer. I'm so happy to be seeing that. Although, personally, a lot of density in my body right now. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that. And who knows what it's from. Probably just from being a human. Being a human. Anyway, I am lighting up my Palo Santo to help me ground into this energy of today, of my sermon. My heart was really heavy this morning when I woke up. It's been heavy actually for the last week or so in the morning. And that is not the best feeling to wake up with. When you wake up and you have this actual weight sitting in your heart of sadness, it makes it challenging to find the motivation to get up and push through that heaviness, but you do it and it shifts, thankfully. But yeah, it's been a little bit heavy over here for me. I think I'm still processing some recent events in my life that really have me shaking my head for the reason it happened, the reason it had to happen, just because from my perspective, it all seems quite senseless, quite pointless, because I don't know, I just don't think it's necessary to, I don't even know, like I just don't think it's necessary. It just wasn't necessary at all, but I guess God's plan says that it is. So that is what the focus of today will be, is really focusing on surrender and your plans versus God's plan, and faith. So I invite you to light up your smudge if you have one. Sage, Palo Santo, copal, anything grounding to help you feel your feet on the earth, on the floor, out of your head, even out of your heart sometimes. It's nice to just come back to a sense like smell. And, so that was a lot. Let that fill your being. I love doing this. Oh my gosh. Just got a whole bunch of black stuff on my cute pink chair. Anyway, let's breathe, shall we? Let's do some box breaths today. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Justine. I am part of a collective of women who are dedicated to adding value to people's lives in the hopes that they remember who they are and come back to heart, come back to soul. Really focus on cultivating inner security. I think that the vast majority of humans are insecure. I come to realize that. Even myself, and I consider myself fairly confident, fairly secure, much more now than I've ever been. Even knowing that I've leveled up in my inner security, I still know that I'm insecure in some ways, right? So it's an attribute, I think, of the human experience that seldom goes away, or it takes a long time to just really, really be comfortable within who you are, that you genuinely release the care for how others perceive you. All right, so yes, I'm Justine. I'm part of the RK Muse Collective, and I am running my own segment on Mondays right now called Muse Mondays that focuses on a feminine muse that inspires me, that I resonate with, that I think their wisdom and their legacy is important to know, especially women who lived eons ago and were still incredibly brave and had the courage to stand in their own value and what they knew to be true underneath what society or the masses were telling them at the time. So that's what I do here on Mondays right now. But I always start off my session with some light breath work. That's what I find helps me and hopefully helps you with just coming into presence. So I'm going to do some box breathing. That's when you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, and then hold for 4 again. So it's like a box, boop, boop, boop. And I'm going to do a few of these. You're welcome to join me, or you can just watch if you've never done it, but it certainly activates a more relaxed and stable nervous system, which I'm sure we all could use. So let's breathe. Okay. In. That's great. All right, so we are approximately 9 minutes into the segment. I'm going to try to keep it under 45. That's always the goal. So I'm going to dive right in, and I hope you enjoy. Today is probably the first Muse Monday that I don't want to do it. Not interested today. I really had to battle myself this morning to push past my resistance to showing up in a good or inspiring energy, because I don't always feel that way. That's just part of being human. So apologies if that is coming through on the screen here, that I am not in the most open-hearted space right now, but doing this morning has really helped. So hopefully this second round for me will just push me right over the edge. Okay. Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Muse Monday, our sacred space where we remember what is real and release what never was. We have been studying, sorry guys, I need to adjust the speed here. We have been studying and exploring my first muse, Mary Magdalene, and I hope you're enjoying learning about her life and legacy. For those of you tuning in for the first time, I'm doing a deep dive into the 7 powers mentioned in Mary's Gospel that keep the soul tethered to illusion. Today, we're looking at the 5th power, the craving for death. Off the hop, this sounds like getting stuck in suicide ideation or not wanting to be here anymore. But it actually has nothing to do with either. It sounds heavy, maybe even hitting a tender spot within you, but stay with me. Because what it really points to is just another path to freedom. Let's take a moment to reflect. What is freedom? Because if it isn't our egos keeping us captive, it's the world. How is it that freedom can even be conceptualized while we are still in the body, still a victim to this material realm? Is freedom being free to do whatever you want when you want? Is it not having obligations to others? Is it having so many ego deaths that you're now above the circumstances you find yourself in? You're living in a state of complete peace and love and have detached from the 7 powers and the 7 deadly sins? Perhaps. Or maybe freedom is simply a realization, a second in time when you remember that freedom comes from your heart. Here's what the craving for death, according to Mary's Gospel, means. It would be comparable to gluttony within the 7 deadly sins. Doing things to our bodies in extremes, eating, drinking, engaging in sex in ways that neglect and harm the body. It's part of the human condition to take out the pain we feel on ourselves as a form of punishment. All right, back to this. I'm going to repeat that. One of the hidden forces behind these powers is something ancient and haunting: the soul's unconscious craving for death. Not just physical death, but the death of hope, the death of love, the death of true vision. It's the part of us that clings to separation, that sees decay and calls it reality. It's the voice that says, love doesn't last. Everything good fades. Why even try? It's futility. This craving isn't loud and obvious. It's subtle. It can sound like pragmatism, like cynicism, like being realistic. But underneath it all, it's a form of worshiping loss, believing in abandonment, accepting defeat as our destiny. It shows up when we sabotage joy, when we push away love just as it starts to feel safe, when we choose resentment over forgiveness, fear over trust, numbness over feeling. It's the little voice that says, you are not worthy of good things that last. In A Course in Miracles, it says, the ego is the part of the mind that believes in death. Every time we choose fear, we are feeding the craving for death. Every time we side with separation, we are affirming that the lie that we are alone. The soul, your soul, knows better. If only you could quiet your ego voice long enough to hear what your soul is saying. Did you know our soul is talking to us all the time? have to get rid of this now. Yeah, I knew this was going to be a fun experience for me today. But this is really important because I wanted to articulate how I have come to access my soul and the voice of my soul. Because before, up until, oh gosh, what month are we? Like, it's been only in the last couple months that I have really now been able to discern the voice of my soul versus the voice of my ego. And I think that is a massive achievement in any human. So I'm going to teach you my method for doing this. So did you know that your soul is talking to us, to you, all the time? The voice of the soul is not loud, mean, and boisterous like the voice in our heads. It's quiet and permeates into your heart space. This is how I have learned to access the voice of my soul. I sit in silence, free of all distractions. I breathe into intense presence within my body. I start by feeling my fingers, not by touching them, but with my eyes closed, knowing that my fingers are still there. How do I know that they are there? I focus on the life force energy pulsing through my fingers. I hone in on that feeling. I intensify my presence and attune to my body. Then I move from my fingers up towards my heart. And now I focus on my heart space. What does it feel like? I observe this. I breathe into it. I ask my heart a question. What does the answer feel like? Does my body feel expansive or does it want to contract? This is so subtle. You need to heighten your presence and awareness to feel the shift, the subtle difference between a yes and a no. So you may feel the yes or a no as a soft word that fills your heart space. That is your soul's voice. So for me, when I tune into my heart and I'm very present with the feeling within my heart, when I ask a question, if the answer is a yes, and I can feel an opening of my heart, there is a subtle, like actual yes that I feel, but I almost can see it. And it's a very quiet yes. It's a woman's voice in my mind or in my heart when I perceive that. It's not a man's voice. It's a woman's voice, but it's very like as if she's saying it like this. Yes. Like it's a very drawn out, not like a yep, yes. Like it's a very quiet yes. And when she says no, it's just a soft, like, no. What I'm trying to say is it's not aggressive. It's not like, you know, in our minds, we can get very, it's like, sometimes my mind will go so much so that I truly feel out of control of it. Like, I'm like, can you just stop just looping around a certain subject or a certain feeling that I have in my body? Like, just stop it. And it's very, obviously our minds are very closely related to our nervous system. So if I go to bed like upset or angry, or I have anger come up while I'm trying to sleep because I'm ruminating on stuff, my nervous system is activated, and then my mind will just like not stop thinking about all of these things that are upsetting to me. And and then you can't sleep for hours, and then that gets you more upset. But what I've learned is first I start with my nervous system to regulate what the hell's going on there, and then work backwards from there with my mind. So if I regulate the nervous system with breath in bed, then I know my mind will follow, and those crazy thoughts will at least calm down. Like, they're not going to be so intense. But what I'm trying to say is the voice of the mind that likes to like shame you and like, why did you do that? And you're such an idiot and you're a failure. Like all of that, like kind of mean, like almost like a bully. That is not the voice of your soul at all. Like the voice in here is so soothing and so gentle. Like you could almost picture an angel or someone that you've met in your life that just has that insane calming aura around them, and you feel immediately just like melty in their presence. It's like that. So if you practice this every day, first of all, you're going to start doing it quicker. Like you don't have to be like, was that the voice of my soul? Like, or no, you're going to know like, oh, there it is, there it is, there it is. And then you can start to trust it. So you can access this deeper knowing at all times. Even if your logical mind can't make sense of what your soul is saying, trusting this voice is having faith and trusting God. I will also add, if you are into divination, oracle cards, tarot cards, dowsing rods, pendulum, etc., especially dowsing rods and pendulum, those tools can be used, I'm still like holding the Palo. Those tools can be used to affirm what your heart is saying. So especially with the dowsing rods, which I've been playing with a lot lately, I will ask a question and I tune into my heart and I can hear the answer in my heart, and then the dowsing rods will confirm it, just, you know, by crossing as in yes or outwards for no. I'm not dependent on the dowsing rods to tell me the answer. It's affirming what I'm already feeling within my heart. So these aren't tools that tell the future. I think they're tools that get you to trust and confirm your intuition. So you're like, oh, what I'm feeling is being confirmed via a tool, an energy tool, and I can trust that this is my intuition and my soul. So remember, your ego voice lives in your head and your soul voice lives in your heart. In the Gospel of Mary, the soul doesn't fight the powers with violence. It doesn't destroy them. It simply remembers. I recognized you. You did not recognize me. The soul reclaims its memory. I am not a body. I am not a tragedy. I am not a lost cause. I am life itself. I am the breath that cannot be extinguished. The craving for death is embedded in the energies of desire, ignorance, and wrath, because they are all rooted in a belief that the material world is real and that you are just a body. And if you think you are just a body, you believe you must die. You believe you are finite. You become addicted to the cycle of birth and death, pleasure and pain, attachment and loss. It's not that you want to die consciously. It's that the egoic mind clings to death as the inevitable end and secretly worships it because death proves that separation from God is real. It says, see, we are abandoned. We are powerless. Love is not eternal. Everything ends. Simply put in one line, it would be this: the craving for death is the soul's forgetfulness of its own immortality. One of my deepest psilocybin journeys I had was, I would say it was probably my favorite, but most of the journey, I had tears streaming down my face for hours, actual hours. I didn't know that my body could produce that many tears. I wasn't sobbing though. They were just pouring from my eyes like a fountain I couldn't turn off. And I said, "These are not my tears." And when I was asked whose tears they were, I replied, "They're God's." It was almost as if God was crying through me, not out of sadness, but out of the infinite love he has for us. A love so intense, all you can do is weep with reverence. I turned and looked at my husband at the time and said to him, "It never ends." I could see the infinity of it all, of us, our immortality. Now, this was a life-changing experience for me in the sense that I remembered a truth so true that my entire being was lit up with electricity. But do I still forget how loved I am from time to time? Absolutely. There is no escaping the humanness of being a human. Although I feel like I have a solid foundational understanding of how this game works, I still have days where it's hard to get out of bed. I've been moving through grief cycles relentlessly since 2022, which prior to being 34, I hadn't experienced real grief at all. I had no idea the potency in heartbreak, the gift that it would become, because I chose to dive headfirst into it. I didn't stuff it into a box never to be looked at again. I alchemized that shit. I turned poison into medicine. I let it crack me open to God. I let it humble me. I let it serve me as a reminder of who I am and the standards I have for myself and the people who get access to me. Heartbreak only increased my value. It brought me closer to God. And although my ego likes to roll her eyes and say, "Are you fucking kidding me?" it has forced me to surrender what I cannot control over and over again. Which is why, which I am terrible at, by the way. It has reminded me that I am nobody's savior, as much as I'd like to be. Everyone has to do this work for themselves. And I wonder if grief actually ends, or if the waves just get spaced out more. I wonder if it's my way of not surrendering to keep those I've lost alive within the grief. Because when we love so deeply, it's hard to let them die, especially when they're still alive. This realm is dense. It's like walking uphill, covered in mud, with heavy ankle weights on. And so it makes sense why we lose hope, why we get tired, and why getting up again is hard. Cultivating the presence and gratitude for the smallest of moments seems to be a vital component to not allowing life to swallow you whole. It's the state of presence that we were so good at being in as children. Yet we lose significantly as we add more layers of experience and responsibility. God did not create us to only suffer. As any good parent would, he wants to see us thrive, to see us be jazzed about this world, to follow our dreams, to live from our hearts, and to know that the pain allows you to feel its opposite, so you know what joy is. I want to share a writing by one of my spiritual mentors, Erica Stanton, or you can find her on Instagram under Empowered by Erica. I think this is a beautiful reminder that my plans are mine and that they may not be what God has in store for my life. So she says, if you ask God to reveal what is for you, don't be surprised if he ruins your plans. Don't be surprised if that marriage ends, if your partner abandons you, if that person you are interested in doesn't reciprocate, if that dream you had in mind doesn't become a reality. Don't be surprised if your fears arise, if your heart is broken, if that door you're knocking on doesn't open. What you don't know is that it's a revolving door. You're being redirected reoriented, rescued. God is revealing the pathway that will bring you closer to Him, closer to love, closer to the light. And that can be scary. This is uncharted territory. It's an unseen path. And what is for your highest good often won't come easy. What is for you will often test you. It will challenge you to choose faith over fear. It will ask you to relinquish ego and be led by soul. What is for you won't pass you or never let you go. What is for you is written in the heavens. Everything is divinely orchestrated. Everything is unfolding in your favor. Godly and good things don't come easy. When God is leading you, you will be asked to surrender your own will in exchange for divine will. You will be asked to surrender your ego. And in doing so, you will be rewarded because you will end up exactly where you are divinely destined to be. So circling back to Mary Magdalene, because her faith and her mission was so refutable, she didn't even let the death of her beloved weaken her spirit. The hopelessness she could have let devour her would have been contradictory to what Christ taught. She knew she must carry on His legacy, His teachings, for the rest of her mortal life. And that's what she did. After the death and resurrection of Christ, legend tells us that Mary Magdalene was cast out. She was persecuted alongside other followers, and they were set adrift on a boat without oars or sails, left to die at sea. But instead of perishing, they were miraculously carried across the Mediterranean to the shores of southern France. There, Mary continued her mission, teaching, healing, and sharing the message of inner resurrection and divine union. Her ministry was not about fear, but about awakening love. Later, she withdrew into solitude, retreating to a sacred cave in the mountains of Provence. There, she lived out her days in prayer, contemplation, and mystical union with the divine. It is said that angels sustained her and that she no longer needed earthly nourishment because she lived by the Spirit alone. Mary Magdalene's life after Christ's death reminds us, when the world casts you out, Spirit carries you deeper into yourself. When death seems to win, life answers in silence and light. Her story is a testament to the soul's journey beyond fear, beyond exile, into the heart of God. So today, I invite you to sit with these questions. Where can you let yourself die only to be born with fresh eyes? What do you have faith in? Fear or love? Can you acknowledge that you can have a hard season knowing that you are being forged in the fire rather than being punished? All right. Oh, how you feeling? Hola, beautifulness. Hello, hello. All right. That is what I have for you today. I'm a little bit early, 35 minutes. Look at that. Yeah, that's what I got for you. I really liked writing this piece, but I haven't really liked saying it today. Only because I'm just not in my normal energy. But it's all such a good reminder to release the density layer by layer, and that it does happen slowly. It's not a quick fix. There's no quick fixes here. And you have to feel it to release it, which is a lot of people don't even want to feel it because it's not comfortable. But I think acknowledging where you are in the moment is the best way to honor it, and then allow it to just pass by until it returns again, because it probably will. I mean, it sounds like Mary had the right idea at the end of her life to just be like, yo, I'm out. I'm going to go live in a cave by myself and God for the remainder of my days. Which I'm sure was peaceful. Anyway, thank you for joining me today. And if you watched the replay, thank you for watching the replay. I hope that there was some benefit there for you. And I will be back next Monday. I have 3 more to go before I'm taking a break for the summer. But I would love your feedback if you are inclined to let me know what you like about these, and what you'd like to see more of. If these are useful to you, that would be cool. Let me know. And we will not be doing Gold Cast this Thursday. We're going to be taking at least a 2-week break. There's a potential we might do one more series before we take a break for the summer, so stay tuned. But you can catch those replays, some of the replays, on YouTube as well. So thank you so much again, guys. Sending you lots of love. Enjoy your Monday and soak up the sun. Okay, bye.